The trattoria's front window blows out, and the neon sign blinks to a death rattle. Glass skitters across the checkered floor. A wedding ring rolls, taps a pistol, stops. Down, I say. Yeah. Matteo pulls me behind the espresso station. Metal tang hangs in the steam. Sirens thin out in the distance. Someone screams in the dining room. Someone else yells to hold the back door. That was a warning, Lewis, he says. From who? Talk straight, Eva. Everyone. You booked a sit down, I say. You promised a ceasefire. I did. They didn't. The Sub Rosa room, 2 steps down from the kitchen, past crates of San Marzano, smells like lemon oil and old wine. We move there in a crouch. My heel finds the ring. I pocket it on instinct, stupidly tender in a storm. Check the corner, he says. Clear freezer, mop sink, flour sacks. Where's Enzo? Corner booth. He waved me down before the glass went. Copy. I press a towel to Matteo's sleeve. Warmth spreads, but the fabric's only ripped. Not my blood, he says. Sa something. Some? He means it to calm me. It half works. Phones? I ask. He lifts his cracked. Dead. Yours? I shake my head. From above, chairs scrape. A voice. Ledger, on the table now. I feel the word like a nail. Ledger. The book that makes tonight more than vows and pasta. Numbers the Union Hall would kill to see. Numbers our fathers swore didn't exist. Is it here? I whisper. No? Then why are we targets? Because they think I'm my father, he says. And because they think you're yours. Fair. Doc Talk said this place was clean, I say. Doc Talk is cheap. He checks the fire exit. Chained. He looks back at me. Grease stripe on his cheekbone. Eyes steady like he's decided something heavy. We go out through the alley gate, he says. Kitchen door, then left. 2 turns. Stay inside my jacket. Your jacket is white. He gives a half smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Then let them stain it. Matteo. Hold, he says, listening. Above us, footsteps cluster. A crate lid shifts. Someone knows this room. Back wall, he says. Panel. There's a panel? Old delivery slot. Grandpa's trick. He pries at the wood. Finds give. A square opens to black. I smell rain cut with street steam. Canal Street groans under us. Subway pushing air through cracks. After you, he says. You first. All right. I promised you real, he says, soft. Real after we live. He nods. Works. We slip into the dark as another voice upstairs counts down from 5. 12 hours earlier. The trattoria wakes before the sun. Metal gates rattle up. Steam drifts from the espresso heads. Rain threatens but holds. Delivery guys shout in 3 languages and laugh like they own dawn. Napkins or linen? Enzo asks, tying his apron crooked. Linen, I say. It's a vow night, not a block party. He smirks. You sure about all this, Eva? I'm sure about clean books and paid staff. I check the floor plan. I'm sure the band keeps the volume under felony. Copy. He taps the stage. You could run a hotel. I could run a school kitchen, I say. Teach kids knife safety. Real work. Enzo whistles. Saint Eva saves the bird. Talk straight. Talk straight, eat. Fair. You hate the noise. You like a plan. I set menus at each table. Tuck rosemary sprigs under the ribbons. Simple, sharp, hard to fake. Through the window, Grand Street hums. A bus sighs. A fruit stand snaps open crates. Matteo brings in a crate of tomatoes, jacket already off, sleeves rolled. He puts the box on my station like we practice logistics and not a life. You change the seating, he says. Fewer corners. I move a chair 2 inches. No blind spots. Solid. Noted. He studies the room. Band's late. Band's always late. He grins, brief, like sunrise through scaffolding. My guy at the Union Hall says the street'll be quiet tonight. Your guy lies. Sometimes he does. I don't look at his hands. I look at the crate list. You shorted me burrata. Mapper's truck stalled. He taps his phone. I'll get it before lunch. You always do, I say, softer than I mean. A kid pauses at the door with a violin case. He wants water. I pour and pass the cup. You play? He asks. Not in public, I say. You should. Copy. He leaves, shoes squeaking on wet sidewalk. See, Matteo says, school kitchen. Don't start. I'm not, I'm listening. I set salt cellars one by one. I want a place that runs clean. No tab by the back door, no mystery discount, no whispers. I want my name to open a grant, not a favor. Ambitious, he says. Basic. Basic's brave here. Then be brave with me. It comes out before I think. He rubs his jaw. I'm trying. A church bell clocks the hour. Enzo flips the sign to open. The first espresso shot hits the saucer, bitter and hopeful. Matteo POV. The fish market stinks of tide and tire heat. I buy too much ice, not enough calm. My father's driver calls twice. I don't pick up. I count crates, count exits, count ways this ends without another name carved in stone. Russo, a vendor says, you still marrying her? I check the fluke for clear eyes. We're planning a dinner. Same thing, he says. Tell your old man the docks'll shut if the ledger's real. I don't answer. Rain spits, then stops. The L grinds somewhere uptown. Here, the river talks in rope and gull. Legit is a slow religion. I pay every ticket, I tip every porter. I keep the books that belong to daylight. The other books, I refuse to touch them. It makes me a saint to some, a fool to most. Back at the trattoria, Eva has turned chaos into measure. Chairs line up like soldiers. She hums without noticing. I could live inside that sound. You're staring, she said. Admiring, I say, a different thing. You brought the burrata? On my shoulder like penance. She hides a smile. Put it in the fridge, back left. I shoulder past the prep line, breathe basil, garlic, mop soap. This place could be our way out. If the city lets us, if the families let us, if we let us. Eva again. Midday. The street shines like a promise. A tourist couple orders ziti and asks about the mural. I give the short version. No names, no saints. Matteo refills water, listens when I talk about the after-school program I want. He doesn't pitch, he doesn't laugh. Do it, he says, I'll help. With what? Permits, vendors, paperwork that makes you scream. Say when. He nods, serious. When you're ready. Ready? Outside, clouds stack. The neon blinks test patterns. We run a last sweep. Enzo lines the candles. I pocket the lighter. Tonight stays calm, I say like an order. Tonight holds, Matteo says, like a prayer. Right before the rain. They put us in a back booth at a pastry shop that never closes. Coffee burns on a hot plate. The TV above the register runs a ball game with no sound. A fan squeaks like it's keeping score. Mr. Russo arrives with a lawyer who looks like a funeral program. My father comes with his foreman from the produce market, hands stained with tomato acid. No guns on the table, just plates of cookies we don't touch. Short version, Mr. Russo says. We're tired. Of what? My father asks. Ambushes, memorials, kids learning the wrong words first. Then stop, I say. They look at me like I tripped a wire. Matteo watches me and doesn't blink. Mr. Russo taps a folder. The street hears about a ledger. The street hears a lot, my father says. Talk straight, I say. We all have something to lose, the lawyer says. We propose you two get married. It signals a freeze. Crews stand down. Vendors relax. The union hall stops roaring. We move daylight forward. Business by ceremony, I say. Stability by family, Mr. Russo replies. My father rubs his eyes, exhausted. My side wants calm. We also want the kids who stock these shelves to keep fingers. This helps. Matteo's jaw works. You said no names, he tells his father. I said no names in the papers, Mr. Russo says. This is a table. I lean in. What do I get? Your kitchen stays yours, my father says. No backroom tricks, no envelope tests. And the after-school program? I ask. Mr. Russo nods. We fund it clean. Donations through the parish. You pick the board. I look at Matteo. What do you get? Room to turn the docks legit, he says. Time, less noise. He lifts a shoulder. And a partner who doesn't faint. Cute, I say. Not a line. The foreman coughs into his fist. There will be rules. Lay them out, I say.
Rule 1, the lawyer says. No one drags the other into the dark.
Rule 2, my father says. No sudden moves at the restaurant. Rule 3, Mr. Russo says. If that ledger exists, it doesn't get waved around like a flag. I look at my father. He won't meet my eyes. That tells me enough. Matteo turns to me. What are your rules? Don't lie to me, I say. Not to protect me, not to feel noble. Copy? No tests, I add. No making me pick between the kitchen and whatever politics you're playing. Fair? And if I say stop? I stop, he says. It lands quick. Serious. Silence holds a breath. The TV shows a fly ball. The fan keeps its squeak. I don't do princess, I say. I do schedules.
I don't do puppet, he is. I do payroll.
The lawyer slides a thin envelope. Civil ceremony next week, church later. We'll keep it quiet. Quiet how? I ask. Family, 2 witnesses, a judge who likes cannoli. My father finally looks at me. It's not pressure, it's a plea. You could say no, he says. You could walk. I study the sugar on the untouched cookies. Then I study Matteo's face, the part that looks tired of playing heir. What do you want, Amis Tinansinit? That's him. A door out, he says, and someone to walk through it with. I let the beat pass. Then I nod once. We write this down. We did, the lawyer says. I mean our part, I say. Kitchen autonomy, program funding, no lies. We sign that. The old men exchange a look. Mr. Russo sits back. Get her a pen. Matteo's mouth edges toward a smile that doesn't mock me. He slides his coffee across the table. To daylight, he says. To earn names, I say. We don't touch the cookies. We sign in ink that bleeds a little. 2 nights before the ceremony. The roll gate jams on our way out. Enzo's already gone. The street sprays mist under a busted streetlight. Inside, the kitchen hums down to a low buzz. Breaker? Matteo asks. Back hall, I say. Behind dry goods. We head past sacks of semolina. The hallway light flickers, then quits. The back door bolt sticks like old gum. Phone? He asks. No signal, I say, holding it high. He tries the gate again. Metal groans. Nothing gives. So we're stuck, he says. For a bit. He leans against the flour rack. Could be worse. You're locked in a pantry with me. Exactly. I find a lantern in the prep closet. It clicks once, then cooperates. Warm light rounds the corners. Storm water patters in the alley like soft applause. Sit, I say. Save your shoulder. Copy. He drops to a milk crate. I push the toolbox toward him with my foot. Try the bolt. I'll call Enzo from the landline. No dial tone, he says. Service cut at 10 cost savings. I exhale. Great plan, pass me. We wait, he says. I hand him a bottle of water. He takes it, then stares at my hands. What? I ask.
You don't shake, he says.
I shake later. Teach me that. Finish tonight, I gesture to the toolbox. Then we'll schedule a lesson. He pries at the bolt with a flathead. It slips. He cusses under his breath. Not loud, not for show. You okay? I ask. Pride bruised, he says. Shoulder fine. Hold. I step behind him, brace the rack with my knee. Try now. He leans, breath catching near my neck. He stops. Respect quick. Too close? He asks. It's fine. It's fine. The bolt refuses again. He sits back, chest heaving once. How long? He asks. An hour, maybe 2. Enzo checks in before bed. Good. He says, we can talk. About? Everything we're pretending isn't coming. I fold onto a crate across from him. Start. My father expects a church party by fall, he says. He expects kids by next year. I lift a brow. I told him we move at our pace. What's our pace? Yours, he says. Kitchen first, program second, us as we find it. You said that like a plan, I say. It is. He watches me. The lantern makes his eyes look more tired than mean. What do your people expect? he asks. That I don't embarrass anyone, I say. That I pay purveyors on time. That I don't cry at the counter. Do you cry at the counter? Never. He laughs once, quiet. You're still. I'm tired of noise. He nods, me too. We trade silence like cards. Rain deepens outside. Somewhere, a siren fades. You ever think about leaving? I ask. Daily, he says. And? I just take the noise with me. Fair? He shrugs out of his jacket, sets it over my shoulders without looking like a hero. Warm, he says. Thanks. He leans back, watches the ceiling. I don't want to be my father. I don't want to be my father either, I say. He turns his head. Then let's not. That simple? Oh? No, he says, but it's a start. We sit until the lantern's beam thins. Enzo's text finally pings through. He's 2 blocks away. Matteo stands, rolls his neck, and faces the bolt again. Round 2, he says, Matthias. Let's go. Later that night. Enzo frees the gate with a curse and a pry bar. We lock up. The block runs glossy under weak street lamps. The rain has the decency to wait until we're done. Ride home? Matteo asks. I'll close the drawer, I say. 5 minutes. I'll wait. Inside, the dining room holds its breath. Candles tilt, half melted. I count receipts with the radio low. A saxophone bleeds through static like a secret. Matteo leans on the doorway. You're humming again. Occupational hazard. He holds up his knuckles. They're scuffed. Met a stubborn bolt. Sing, I say. Soap, hold still. Hold still. He obeys. Warm water, clean towel, antiseptic. I dab slow. He watches my face like the hurt's not in his hand. Bad? He asks. Annoying. You or the cut? Both. He laughs under his breath. The radio finds a cleaner station. The sax becomes a hush. Dance with me, he says. In an empty restaurant? In our empty restaurant, he says. Only if you want to. I set the towel down. Kill the overhead. He flips the switch. The room softens to window glow and street shine. I step into his reach, cautious, curious. His palm finds my shoulder blade. Respectful distance. My fingers rest at his collarbone. Feel a steady rhythm that's not the radio. This okay? He asks. It is. We move small, like we're testing floorboards. His jacket hangs on a chair. My lighter taps against my thigh. The neon over the door stutters to a steady line. Our shoes whisper against a tile. You ever slow down? Yeah. Right now. Good. He exhales. I want to earn this. Earn what? Being the person you don't have to manage. High bar. I like heights. I snort. He grins. The song wanders. We follow. He tilts his head toward my forehead. Not a question. Not an ambush. I rise a fraction. He kisses my temple like a yes to daylight. You're warm, he says. Lantern time, I say. Stuck with you improves circulation. Copy. We sway another minute. Rain finally starts. A clean patter on the awning. I remember summer mornings making sauce with my father, counting basil leaves like prayers. I tuck that away. What are you thinking? Matteo asks. Recipes, I say. For what? Quiet. He nods. I'll help prep. Say when, I almost say, but swallow it. We'll schedule. His smile is quick. Of course you will. The song ends. We step apart like professionals and not conspirators. I hand him his jacket. He settles it over my shoulders again without looking heroic. Walk you home? He asks. Up Mulberry, left on Prince, I say. I know the route. We button lights, check doors twice. Outside, the city wears its late hour like a coat it doesn't mind. He keeps a respectful half step. I match it. At my stoop, I touch his sleeve. Thank you, I say. For what? For letting the room be soft. Anytime, he says. We can make that a rule. Written, I say. He nods, backs away, and waits until I'm inside. The hall smells like paint and rain. My pulse settles, slow as a simmer. Before the city shakes itself awake. Matteo POV. Union Hall smells like wet wool and coffee that lost a fight. Men tap cigarettes they won't light inside. The mural of a ship stares down like a judge. Rocco corners me by the bulletin board. You hear it too? He asks. Ledger. I hear noise, I say. Noise gets boys buried. He rubs his thumb over a scar like it's a worry bead. If a book shows daylight, crews panic. Panic makes corners hot. I'm working a freeze, I say. The site down holds. For now. He leans closer. Talk straight, Matteo. Your old man built lists. The produce boss kept times. If somebody binds all that, the street isn't quiet. It's math. Noted, I say. You holding it? He asks. No, I say, and it's true in the moment. He studies my face like he wants a reason to believe me. He doesn't get one. Keep your bride out of it, he says. Kitchen's clean, leave it clean. Copy. Outside, trucks cough to life, the river breathes. I text a number I shouldn't have. An old parish treasurer answers on the second ring. I need a receipt, I tell him. For what? A youth fund, music, meals, homework, in a woman's name who isn't mine. Anonymous? Quiet, I say. Paperwork's ugly, he says. I can carry ugly. He gives me a time. I move. The trattoria is dark when I cut through the prep hall. The safe hums behind the wine crate. I don't open it. I don't need to. I know what's inside because I put it there last week. A decoy ledger that reads like patience. Daylight numbers, vendors paid, staff hours tight and fair. The book everybody should see. The other book, my grandfather's dog, eared one with initials and favors like IOUs, rode with me at dawn to a desk that isn't here. I didn't tell my father, I didn't tell hers, I didn't tell Eva because she deserves to say vows without a map to old sins in her head. Enzo steps from the office with a broom. He startles. Boss. Door squeaks, I say. You look like you slept in your car, he says. Car slept in me. I nod at the safe. You touch that? Never, he says. I like fingers. Good. He eyes me. Street says you're brave or stupid. Both cost the same, I say. Open the gate. Open the gate, I got a meeting. At the parish, Father Aldo pours coffee that tastes like penance. The treasurer lays forms that hum under the fluorescence. Name for the fund? He asks. I give Eva's mother's maiden name. It feels like a door that hasn't slammed yet. Amount? Enough to start, I say. He writes. The pen scratches like a match. He looks up. Strings? No strings, I say. Classroom, safe hours, hot meals, that's it. God-like simple, the priest says. So do I. He gives me a receipt that smells like toner. Bells argue noon somewhere down the block. Eva meets me on the church steps. She's got rain on her lashes and a file folder under her arm. You were here, she says. Paperwork, I say. For what? Permits, I say. And it's half of what I'm carrying. She studies the receipt before I can pocket it. Her mouth tightens. Anonymous gift? Looks that way. You? People who want calm are generous, I say. That's not an answer. It's the one I have. Her breath clouds, then thins. Sirens fade somewhere up Lafayette. A bus sighs. Rules, she says, one, no lies. No lies, I say. Just timing. That's spin. It's survival, I say, softer. Let the program stand on its own feet. No one needs to chant our names at a ribbon cutting. She holds my eyes another beat. You moved something, didn't you? What do you think I moved? The book that makes men stupid. I moved risk, I say, off your floor. Is it safe? As safe as I can make it? That's not a place, she says. It's the best I've got. She looks past me at the church door, at the city arguing with the weather. If this blows back on the kitchen... It won't, I say, and that's the half I can stand behind. She exhales. We keep my side clean. We keep kids out of crossfire. We fund with checks that don't itch.
Agreed.
And when you need me to trust a blank, you say so, she says. You don't smile and hand me a neutral word.
Fair.
We walk off the steps side by side. Shoes click. Pigeons mutter. The L grinds uptown. Steel on steel like a warning and a promise. Now, we drop into the alley. Rain hits like rice at a bad ceremony. Steam leaks from a grate. The city's hum swells until it's a single, rough chord. Left, Matteo says. Clear. 2 shadows holding.
Copy.
We move past crates and a rusted cart. Above us, the count hits 1. The sub-rosa room takes another hit. Plaster dust drifts like cheap snow. Ledger, someone shouts from the kitchen. Bring it out, lover boy. Matteo's jaw tightens. They think it's here. It isn't. They don't know that. A figure blocks the far end of the alley. Another peels off near the gate. No guns out, but hands ready. The rain hides faces, not intent. Talk? I ask. Buy time, he says. No heroics. We stop under a fire escape. Metal ticks in the wet. My fingers find the ring in my pocket and squeeze hard enough to remember skin. The taller one calls, trade the book for your piece. Piece is pricey, I call back. Stop playing, the other says. Bring it, chef. Say please, I say. Matteo leans close. Give them something small. The decoy? He nods once. It keeps staff breathing. And after... we move. The taller one tries again. Clock's running. Whose clock? Matteo asks. The river's, he says. Tide waits for no vow. Matteo's breath warms my ear. We need a rule. Make it quick. No lies, he says. Even if it stinks. Already wrote that. Another, he says. We don't use each other as cover.
Agreed.
And one more, he adds. If we live, we choose the ceremony, not them. In daylight, I say, no cameras, no favors.
Deal, he says.
Rain beads on his lashes.
That's a vow.
Say it clean, I tell him. He faces me, palms empty. I won't barter you, he says. I won't turn your kitchen dirty. I won't be my father's echo. My throat tightens. I give mine back. I won't hide from your mess, I say. I won't cook for their games. I'll build the program anyway. Footsteps scrape wet brick. The taller one curses the weather. Matteo lowers his voice. You trust me enough to hand them paper? Only if you want to. I catch myself. Do it, but I carry it. Fair? We step forward 3 paces. Distance matters. I lift the folder Matteo stuffed in my apron before the glass fell. The decoy ledger looks boring, which is the point. Proof of life, I say on 1 page. He nods. I slide a harmless summary out, the kind you show a bank. Hours, vendors, a little cash cushion. I hold it where rain can stain corners, not numbers. See, I call. Clean! The shorter one creeps in, slow. He takes the page with 2 fingers like it bites. He squints, then barks a laugh without humor. You think we can't tell pretty from true? Do you? I ask. The taller one spits rain. Bring the spine, girl. Matteo steps in. No. Then we come take it. You try, he says. His voice goes quiet. But you leave my staff out of it. You leave her kids out of it. You keep hands off the floor. What floor? The short one asks. The one that feeds your cousins, Matteo says. Silence holds. Rain drums harder. Somewhere a train metal screams over track. Last ask, the taller says. Book now. Matteo looks at me. He isn't asking permission. He's asking alignment. I breathe once. We give them a line, I say, not a door. He nods. You okay? I'm here. He lifts his voice. We'll drop a copy at the Union Hall. 10 o'clock. Day numbers, proof enough. That's a stall, the shorter says. It's a guardrail, I say, and it keeps fists out of my pantry. You think you can set terms? The taller asks. Matteo doesn't blink. I think you know who gets paid on Fridays. A laugh cracks from the gate. Not friendly, not fatal. 10 o'clock, then. The 2 shapes fade back. Not running, not lingering. A car engine turns over near the corner. Tires hiss through puddles. For now, lanes hold. We stay under the fire escape until the alley empties. My heart knocks once, twice, then finds a rhythm. That vows sand, Matteo says. It does, I say. Even if it stings. Especially then. He reaches for my hand, stops short. Permission? Yes. Our fingers lace, brief, steady. No romance music, just water and heat pipes. This buys us hours. He says, or maybe less. We use them. For what? Control the room, I say. Staff out, copies ready, doors watched. Copy. And one more rule, I add. He waits. If you have a second book, I say, you tell me where. He swallows. Rain runs along his jaw. After we get safe. That's not a place I say tea. It will be, he says. I'll make it one. Then move. We break for the street. The neon across Grand flickers, then steadies like it remembers its job. A squad car wails 3 blocks off and fades. The city shakes, then resets. 10 o'clock, Matteo says. 10, I say, and we walk in together. In the open, he says. Like daylight, I answer. Like daylight, he repeats, which is another vow in the downpour. Right after the alley. We cut through the side door. The dining room's half lit. Candles stubbed low. I clap once. Enzo, I say. Cash drawer, envelope only. Marta, coats on, walk home in pairs, no detours, lock behind you. Copy, Enzo says, pale but steady. Matteo moves the buster boys to the pantry. Out the back, right now, keep your heads down. Text me when you're inside your buildings. The espresso machine hisses like it heard the plan. I grab the decoy ledger from the office safe and slide it into a plain folder. Matteo watches the street through the front glass, jaw set. Union Hall, 10, he says. I'll drop the copy with Rocco. Not alone, I say. Not alone, he agrees. I pull off the thin chain I wear under my shirt. My mother's ring. Dough prep turns it into a hazard. Habit says tuck it by the espresso. On a napkin. I do it without thinking. Then hate that I did it. Keep it on, Matteo says. Bad luck, I say, and tap the napkin like it's proof. Near the kitchen door, Turi, the cousin who runs deliveries, pats a coat pocket. He's jittery. Matteo clocks it and steps in. Hand it, Matteo says. What? The piece, he says. Flat. This room stays clean. Turi hesitates, then surrenders a pistol he shouldn't have brought. Matteo clicks the safety like it's an exhale and sets the thing on the espresso station, far from hands that itch. Street's boiling, Turi mutters. Guys at the dock say, Enough, Matteo says. You walk Marta, no stops. Turi grimaces but nods. They go. The last table clears. Chairs lift upside down. My heart tries to sprint. I pin it with tasks. Salt shakers to the side, candles blown out, folder under my arm. Matteo's phone buzzes. He checks, curses lightly. What? I ask. Rocco got a whisper, he says. Somebody inside told the kitchen keeps a book. Inside who? He doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. Inside us. I scan faces still here. 2 dishwashers tying their boots, Enzo counting fast, the band guy stowing a bass. No one looks wrong, everyone looks scared. You trust your cousin? I ask. Most days, he says. Tonight, I trust the door. Works, I say. We cut lights as A van rolls slow past the window. It doesn't stop. Its brake lights bloom and fade. The street hum sharpens to a blade. Time, Matteo says. We move to the Sub Rosa. We wait for quiet. Then we take the alley exit. Then the hall, I say. He nods, checks the front again, then looks at me. You okay? I'm here. He reaches like he might fix my collar and thinks better. Say when, he almost says, but swallows it. Good. We've made enough vows for one wet night. We drop 2 steps into the Sub Rosa, the little room that remembers contraband wine and arguments that ended with handshakes. The air smells of lemon oil and regret. I slot the folder into my apron again. Matteo takes a breath like he's swallowing glass. Whatever happens, he says quietly, we don't let them rewrite our terms. Copy. Above us, something thumps, not boots. A crate shoved. Someone knows this floor plan better than I like. Panel, I ask.
After a beat, he says, if we jump too early, we funnel.
Fair. We stand shoulder to shoulder. The radiator clanks a nervous rhythm. The neon outside the window flickers, trying to decide what it wants to be. Enzo, I would call up, you out? Ha ha, sir.
Halfway down the block, he shouts back, I'll text.
The front window detonates like the night made a choice. Glass sheets the room, air punches in, the neon stutters to a sick pulse. My mother's ring skitters off the napkin, rolls. It taps the pistol and stops as if the city itself said hush. Down, I say, already moving. Matteo drags me behind the espresso station. Steam ghosts around us. A voice from the kitchen. Ledger, on the table, now. And there it is, the line that proves the whisper reached the wrong ears. They heard book and translated powered, Matteo says, low. Then we remind them what's real, I say. Exit, copy, witness. He nods. And in that second, something clear passes between us. This is not romance, not a movie. This is logistics under fire.
Back wall, he says. Panel.
We move. His shoulder takes the wood. It gives. Air from the city shoves in. The countdown starts upstairs. 5 to 1. Matteo looks at me. Steady.
We walk out together, he says.
In the open, I answer. Our hands don't touch. Our rules do. We drop into the dark, where the alley waits like a rehearsal we already ran. 10 o'clock, Union Hall. The room smells like rain and floor wax. Posters about safety curl at the edges. A soda machine hums like it's nervous. Rocco waits by a folding table, coat dripping. You're late, he says.
Traffic, Matteo says.
Cute. Rocco's eyes flick to the folder under my arm.
You brought homework?
Proof we pay fair, I say. Enough to calm heads.
Calm isn't the street's hobby, he mutters.
2 men from the alley lean near the bulletin board, pretending to read job postings. Their shoes are too clean for dock work. Keep it tight, Matteo says to me, low. Copy.
Rocco nods at the page I offer.
He scans fast, lips thin.
This plays to cameras.
It plays to payroll, I say.
He taps a column. Clean hours, no envelope math. He folds the sheet. They won't buy it.
They don't need to buy, Matteo says. They need to stand down. A door creaks. Mr. Russo enters with the lawyer. My father follows, jaw set hard enough to crack a tooth. Wet umbrellas bloom against a mop bucket.
You were told to stay home, my father says.
You were told to let the restaurant breathe, I answer. The lawyer lifts his hands. Talk straight. The rumor's hotter than coffee. If there's a book that ties crews, this room gets loud. Noise is your business, I'd say. Mine is knives and kids. Mr. Russo studies Matteo. You moved it. Silence snags the air. Moved what? Rocco asks. The thing that makes men do stupid math, Mr. Russo says. Rocco turns back to Matteo. That true? Matteo doesn't look at his shoes. He looks at me. Yes. Where? I ask. A desk that doesn't answer to my father, he says. Who's this? My father snaps. Someone who loves budgets more than legends, Matteo says. No copies, no pictures. A letter that says it disappears if bodies drop. My father blinks first. You went around me.
I went around everyone, Matteo says, because we said no lies.
He's talking to me, not them. My pulse kicks once.
You dragged her into that risk,
my father says to him. Matteo doesn't flinch. I dragged risk away from her floor.
By waving a torch?
Mr. Russo asks.
By taking matches off your table, Matteo says.
Rocco tilts his head.
You trust the desk?
I trust what they do when the lights are ugly, Matteo says, and I trust her. The 2 men by the bulletin board exchange a glance. One checks his watch. Rocco clocks it, then steps just enough to block their sight line. My father turns to me. You knew? I guessed, I say. Tonight I asked. Tonight he answered. And you're good with that? He asks. I'm good with clean rules, I say. I'm not good with being bait.
Bait? Mr. Russo says.
I face him. The window didn't break by accident. Somebody wanted a page on a table and a panic in a kitchen. Eyes ricochet. The The lawyer's mouth tightens. My father looks at the floor. Mr. Russo's fingers drum once. Stop. Who called the boys? Rocco asks. No one volunteers. The soda machine hums louder. The door cracks open. Turi slips in, soaked, eyes shiny. He freezes when he sees the chairs, the faces, the folder. Cousin, Matteo says. Turi swallows. I walked Marta home. You also made a call, Matteo says. Turi's chin drops. They said it was just a scare. Get the book. No blood. Street never promises that, Rocco says. I know, Turi says, but my brother… Enough, Mr. Russo cuts in. He's young. He's an adult who picked a match, I say. Turi crumples. I'm sorry. My father rubs his temples. I told the lawyer to apply pressure, he says. Too quiet. Not break glass. A rumor this big. I needed to know. You used my place, I say. I wanted to see if he'd fold, my father says. Matteo's voice is steady. I don't fold. Mr. Russo exhales like a man realizing a bill is due. We got greedy, he says. We thought we could scare the truth out. It doesn't work, I say. It just empties the room of the people who keep us fed. The lawyer squares a stack of notices that don't need straightening. We can still handle this. Hand over the old pages. We burn them. We should shake hands. No, Matteo says. Think before you… I did, he says. I thought about 20 years of funerals. The bulletin board men step forward a half pace, enough to read his threat. Stop, Rocco says, hand up. We're not making a mess in here. You can't bluff forever, one says. It's not a bluff, Matteo says. If anyone shoves this city back into wake dress, the desk mails a box to a place with fluorescent lights. Then nobody controls the noise. The men glance at each other. They don't like losing pieces off the board. My father eyes Matteo. You really wrote that letter? I did. You trust whoever that is? I trust consequences, Matteo says. The lawyer lifts his chin. So we're pinned. No, I say. You're reminded. We asked for daylight deals, you pushed for spotlight threats. That's your echo, not ours. Mr. Russo looks older under Union Hall bulbs. We back off, he says to the room at large. We accept the copy for now. We let the kids sleep. That enough for your bosses? Rocco asks the bulletin board men. For tonight, one says. We report. You tell them the kitchen's off. Limits, I say. You tell them the after schoolroom comes with eyes. They don't agree. They also don't argue. They slide out, slick as fish. Silence returns, round and heavy. Rain taps the windows like a watch. My father faces me. I misplayed, he says. I thought fear would keep you safe. It never did, I say. Mr. Russo turns to Matteo. You understand you just told me the book isn't yours anymore. I do. Which means you can't bargain with it. I won't, Matteo says. Rocco looks between us all. So what now? Now, I say. You put in writing what you told me in the pastry shop. Kitchen autonomy. Program money with real names on checks. No more theater at my door. The lawyer hesitates. Mr. Russo jerks his chin. The man unlids a pen. And one more, Matteo says. Union Hall declares the restaurant neutral ground. No more tests, no more whispers. Rocco nods once. Done. The pen scratches. Pages turn. Ink commits. I look at Matteo. Anything else I should learn before we leave this room? He meets me clean. No. No more letters to desks? Not unless the city forgets how to breathe, he says. Fair. He reaches, stops short. May I? Yes. Our hands clasp for a beat, not romance, alignment. Somewhere outside, sirens fade to a low moan. The soda machine clicks off like it found peace. Tomorrow, my father says, exhausted. You two come to breakfast. No lawyers. We'll see, I say. Mr. Russo watches his son. You chose a hard road. I chose daylight, Matteo says. Rocco cracks the door, listens to rain. Street's cooling. Then we go, I say. We step into the hallway under exit signs that buzz like gnats. The night feels different, not safe, but seen. Home? Matteo asks. Home, I say. Then the kitchen. Then the kids. Then we build rules people can live with. We push into the wet and start walking, shoulders almost touching, heads up. Dawn rubs the night out of its eyes. Delivery trucks beep. Steam climbs from manholes like quiet prayers. We unlock the gate and step into a dining room that smells like lemon and decision. Rocco's already at a corner table with a paper cup. He sets a folded page down. "Your copy," he says. "Word on the river. Stand, down holes, kitchen's neutral."
Good, I say.
Better than good, Matteo adds. It's a start. Oh, but guy.
Rocco nods at the espresso bar.
Window guy sent regret through a mouth I trust. He gives me a look. You'll still change the glass.
I will. He leaves without fanfare. The room exhales. My father and Mr. Russo walk in next. No entourage, no theater. The lawyer stays in the hall.
Breakfast? I ask. Please, my father says. I pour coffee. Steady hands. Matteo brings plates he didn't cook but chose. Mr. Russo folds his hat and sets it away from the water ring. I pushed too far, my father says. I scared the wrong room. Apology accepted, I say, with terms. We know them, Mr. Russo says. We signed them. Matteo leans on the chair back like he's done being his father's echo. One more, he says. If anybody tests the rules again, we answer with paperwork, not panic. Agreed, Mr. Russo says. We can learn.
My father studies our faces. You too. Is this arrangement still an arrangement?
Matteo looks at me. He doesn't perform. He waits. It's real, I say, because we chose it. Then let us do one thing right, my father says. We'll come as guests when you call, not before. Copy, I say. They eat a few bites, then go. The door shuts softly. Sirens thin out somewhere over Broome, then fade. We scrub. We reset. Enzo tapes a closed for lunch sign with a smile that reaches his eyes. The band guy leaves a thank you on a napkin. I find my mother's ring behind the grinder, still warm from the machine's motor. I set it on a saucer. It doesn't roll. Matteo joins me at the counter. Ceremony? He asks. City clerk, I say. Midday! No cameras. 2 witnesses. Rocco and Enzo? He asks.
Enzo and the kid with the violin.
He grins. Perfect. Noon walks in on time. The clerk pronounces words that have weight and no lace. The kid plays a slow, sweet line he learned by ear. Mr. Russo and my father stand like men who finally understand what not to touch. Matteo's palm finds my cheekbone. He kisses my temple, brief and sure. We'll build the quiet, he says. We'll staff it, I answer. We'll fund the hours. We'll keep doors bright. Outside, the train howls over iron, then settles. The sky clears a stubborn patch. We walk back to the restaurant under scaffolding that looks almost like a frame for something new. At the door, Matteo shrugs out of his jacket and sets it over my shoulders without ceremony. Heat, cloth, street. I thread my fingers into his for one measured beat. Home? He asks. Home, I say. And after dinner, we write the menu for the program, snacks, homework, safe rides. Works? We flip the sign to open. The bell rings once, small and brave. The city moves. We choose it anyway.